Part 3. Let's just get to the end of this.
Some capacity doesn't then justify the maximization of that harm. I think that, morally speaking, whilst we can never eliminate suffering, we should seek to reduce suffering.
That's a totally, valid point to take. But I would just, I have difficulty, kind of taking myself away from that argument because it still is immoral, right? And to say, oh, I'm this amount of moral versus I'm this percentage immoral just seems a little weird to me, if that makes any sense to you.
Okay. So I can go about my day and not harm another human, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm still living an immoral life. So am I allowed to harm a human then, even though I can avoid doing so, because we live immoral lives?
It would make you more immoral.
Okay. So if I can live a life where I don't have to harm a human, and I can live a life where I don't have to harm an animal in the ways that we conventionally do for the food that we consume, if it's morally preferable not to harm a human in the absence of necessity, surely it's morally preferable to not harm an animal in the absence of necessity.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is it necessary for the carnage to keep going on in nature? The competition where animals are killing each other all the time. Why is it necessary? Yeah, why is it necessary? You don't have an answer to that.
So in that context, then, if we establish, and this is the only thing we need to establish to, make this statement on the banner correct, if we establish that with the choices that we have, veganism is the morally preferable choice, even though it's not perfect, but is morally preferable, substantially so, then that by default makes veganism a moral obligation.
Rendezd be egy szép otthont.
Yeah, I'm getting
kedvező
ads.
áron. IKEA.
What the fuck? I hate ads.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, right?
Okay.
But ultimately, I still do feel like if we're arguing moral obligations, killing yourself would be the most moral thing to do. So
Yeah,
why wouldn't killing yourself be the moral obligation?
Yeah, in a lot of cases, killing yourself is, like, for most people, I would say killing themselves is the best thing that they can do. It's the most moral thing that they can do. Because, let's get real. How many people are living the Homer Simpson life? Come on. They're all just so stupid. Do yourselves a favor. Go to sleep. Don't wake up. Come on.
Because if we do that, we can't seek to create a better world. We can't seek to
Oh,
create...
fuck off. Like, what is this better world? Like, what's your, again, if you don't make the mess, you won't have to make it better. Come on. Just prevent it all. Why do you need to make it? Why do you need to make this purpose to make it better when you can just extinct all life? And yeah, Mars is better, right? Make it into Mars if you want to make it better.
a world that reduces suffering. Ultimately, at the end of the day, what we should strive to
There should be no suffering.
do is create better systems, create better relationships with humans and non-human animals. And with the life that we have, we can do
Yeah, we're just exploiting each other. Come on, even the animals. It's all just a seduction. It's about what I get, what I want.
the morality of bringing more life into existence. But with the life that you and I have,
So he agrees. He still doesn't agree. He's just saying we can argue about the morality of bringing life into existence. I mean, that's the worst crime. Come on, that's worse than, I don't know, murder.
we should seek to try and create systems and change that implements less suffering in the world. That's what I think, And it's just not a tangible thing, nor is it an ethical thing to talk about taking life. The whole concept of what
Ethical thing about taking life. Yeah, then what's, and you're you're against suffering, and you're not you're against maximizing suffering, and you're for reducing suffering, but you fail to understand that if life will exist, suffering will exist.
I'm discussing is the concept of trying to reduce life that is taken, reduce the suffering that is caused. And so really at the end of the day, what we're creating is a really extreme hypothetical option, which isn't really part of the possibilities of what we can do, but we have to eat. And so faced with the option of necessity,
We have to eat because you're addicted to it. That's why you have to eat. Because you're forced by your body. Because it will make you feel discomforted. Oh, I'm hungry. And that's the thing, that's why he's saying nature is fucked. Because it creates these needs. And when they're going to be needful organisms, they're going to suck each other's blood in some way. That's how the game is going to be played. They're selfish organisms.
to eat, we therefore are compelled to make the choices that we can make when it comes to the reduction of the suffering that those choices make. If that makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah. Like if you want to be a moral person, veganism is, theoretically more moral than not being vegan. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Where does that leave you then? You're faced with two choices: to pursue an option that you have just accepted is more moral, or to continue doing something which you have accepted is immoral in the context of having another option that is more moral.
Like I said earlier, though, they both seem, immoral to me relative to, I realize
that's not true, though. But we're not going around in circles, because you're contradicting yourself. You just said that it's more morally preferable, and now you're saying that it's morally comparable. But it's not morally comparable. You and I have both just established that. So, because one is preferable over the other, regardless of the fact that we can't live a perfect life, in the context of the situation that we have today, and the recognition that we have both made that the vegan option is the preferable option, what then stops you from making that change?
It would be my immorality and my...
If one person goes vegan, come on, get real. This is in this whole ocean of suffering, it's just a drop. Come on. Prevent the future beings from existing, and you prevent the future meat eaters. Don't let them have kids. Don't let people have kids. Then you won't have to turn them into vegan. See? That's simple. Don't make the mess. You won't have to clean up the fucking mess.
A desire to eat meat.
And does that justify it?
It's not very just.
This is just getting into veganism now, and I think it's
justified, but I think we live in an immoral system. We've established you cannot be the perfect moral being.
Yes.
There's some immorality in just existing itself.
So are you comfortable maximizing suffering then?
Yeah, there's you take a shit, you flush it, it goes in the ocean, it ruins the environment of the fish. There's a lot of it. You go out, you step on ants. It's all just fucked up. Come on. The game is fucked. We've been sold a fucking piece of shit. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just going to cause unnecessary suffering, because the whole it doesn't need to exist. There's no function for life in this universe. Again, the non-existent Martians. There's the fact that there aren't no Martians in the universe doesn't make the universe a lesser place.
Well, maximizing would be, going around killing hundreds of people, and then...
Or potentially tens of billions of...
That would be in the net suffering if you kill everything. You've prevented all the suffering. The net is already getting filled right now, right? So what you can do is prevent the suffering from getting thrown in the net again. Now, because that's what it is. It's all about the net suffering. It's not about the this insignificant amounts. It's the whole picture, the whole game, the future. If you prevent it by killing if that's the only way you can prevent it, by killing everyone now, that's the moral thing to do. Moral.
Animals might be a situation of maximizing suffering.
It is a system where suffering is definitely increased relative to, a vegan society.
And you're comfortable with contributing to a system that increases suffering?
I think.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah, if you, life is suffering. Okay, life will create suffering, and the people who are having kids are comfortable with throwing their kids in this game of suffering. And the animals in the wild are doing the same thing. They're having preposterous amounts of babies and they die. So yeah, they should be stopped as well.
You can certainly find ways around to try and minimize the suffering.
How do we minimize the suffering to its fullest extent?
Fucking ads, how like this guy's for the money, I guess. I mean, you
Minimal. If you wanted a minute, you would be vegan, right? But if you wanted to work around that, and if you wanted to remain a meat eater while minimizing suffering, you would probably go with the standard options, right?
What, the factory farmed options?
This standard,
this is just getting into veganism, so yeah, we'll just the argument is of like it wins in the sense that it's simple. And this is the thing, like human beings just don't want, it's like they don't want the solution to be simple. They want to make everything into, oh no, it's difficult and this and that. I mean, we should all be, it's so simple. If you cease to exist, if life ceases to exist, suffering ceases to exist. And that's what we want. Well, not what we want in the sense, that's what we have to recognize. Because that's the only value here. Because you feel it, I feel it, the animals in your home, they feel it, the animals in the factory farm, they feel it, and the animals in the wild fucking feel it. So the future, because they're not all sterilized, right? So the future is going to feel it. And you recognize that it's all suffering, it's all fucked up, it's all bullshit. Why shouldn't you be for the extinction and extinction of it? And you're gonna say, oh, that's not tangible, we can never get it. I can make the same argument for veganism. That's not tangible, we won't ever have the vegan world. So yeah, we both lose. Huh. You want to do that? No, I don't. Just the collapse that we're all headed towards. I mean, it should be fucking obvious that don't put more players in this game and let's just get out of here. Come on, what are we fucking waiting for? Every day this shit goes on. Every day horror is happening on this planet. Every day. For our delusions, for a delusion in our heads that we're gonna have a utopia or a vegan world where animals just kiss each other. Come on, get rid of your fantasies. I think that's enough.